Hello students, in this session we will study about graphs of some basic mathematical functions. Before moving to the graphs, let us learn about the definitions of these mathematical functions. The first function, basic function is the identity function. Now what is an identity function? Any real valued functions which is defined by f of x equal to x for all x belonging to the real numbers. R to R, that is the domain, and codomain, both are real numbers. Such function is your identity function, and if we see the graph of this function, that will be a straight line which is passing through the origin. The next function that we have is a constant function. Constant function is defined by f of x equal to c. C is your constant. It could be any number, 2, 3, 7, 10, 100. It could be anything, right? Which means whichever function, whatever the value of that function is, but it will always result in that one constant number which is defined. And hence the graph of this function will be a straight line passing through the constant point C. Now the next that we have is a polynomial function. Polynomials we know, right? What is a polynomial? Where the degree of any unknown variable is greater than or equal to 2, then it will be your polynomial function. For example, this f of x equal to a0, which is your constant number, plus a1x plus a2x square, so on and so forth, right? This is your polynomial function, and this type of function, the graph of this function will always result in a parabola. We will see how the parabola looks in the GeoGebra. Now the fourth function that we have is a rational function. Rational function is of the form f of x divided by g of x, where both the numerator and denominator are polynomial functions. And also one more thing, which is whatever the function that we have in the denominator will always be not equal to 0. Then such function is called as your rational function. Next, modulus function. A function f defined from real numbers to real numbers as f of x equal to mod x. The symbol that we have here is called as your mod of x. Now what do we mean by mod of x? Let the value of f of x be anything, modulus of fx, as in it could be that x value could be either negative or positive, but it will always result in positive only. So when we check the graph of modulus of function, it will lie on both the side, the positive as well as the negative. This was a definition for all these 5 functions. Now let's see their graphs in GeoGebra and how to get their graphs in GeoGebra. So far, we have seen their definitions, that is how the functions are defined. Let's use those defined functions and create graphs in GeoGebra. The first that we have is a identity function. We know that the identity function is defined by f of x equal to x. So what we will do, the function that we have defined, we will write that in the input bar. This is where your input bar is. Yes, on the left hand side, I will click here and I will write down f of x equal to the first identity function x. Once you write this in the input bar, that is the algebraic view, immediately it will reflect on your graphic view. See here we have a straight line. If you remember, identity function, this graph will be a straight line passing through the origin. This is your origin and it is passing through the origin, a straight line. So this is your graph for a identity function. Let the value of x be anything, but this will always lie in the straight line passing through origin. Now, moving to the second one, the second was your constant function. Second was your constant function. The constant function is defined as, once we have defined f of x, so we will take another variable g of x equal to, constant function is equal to any number where c is your constant. So let's take that as equal to 3. Yes, and see, immediately we have a line over here which is, if you see here, at the point 3, that's what we have said. If you remember, constant function, the graph of this constant function will be a straight line passing through the constant point, which is 3. Yes, if you see here, whatever we have in our input bar, whatever functions we have defined in the input bar, onto the left side of them, they have been assigned the colors of this. That is, the first function will have the purple color, the next function will have a gray color. If we want, we can change their colors also. Click on this line, take your move bar first, move tool, then click on the line whichever you want to change. Now it is selected. Now right click on it and then go in settings. If you check here in settings, see here one more thing, we have show label. It is showing name, that is, the name of the function is g of x. If you see here on this line, we have g right over here. Instead of that, let's click on name and value. Once we have name and value, you see g of x equal to 3, which means this line is defined by g of x equal to 3. Let's do one thing. Let's change the color of this. I'm changing it to green. All right. Click on this one and now close this. So it is now more visible. Then the next function that we have is a polynomial function. Now polynomial function is, let's give the name as h of x equal to, you can take your polynomial functions anything. So I'm taking it as 3x square plus 1. Alright, this is my polynomial function. And immediately if you see, we have our polynomial function h right over here. Yes. And the polynomial function will always lie in a parabola, and this is what your parabola looks like. Now, moving on to the next function. Next we have is a rational function. Rational function, if you remember, is defined by f of x divided by g of x, right? Where both the numerator and denominators are polynomials. Yes. So let's have that function as j of x equal to, let's give them, in the numerator we want to have a polynomial, so x divided by x square plus 1. Both polynomials, numerator and denominator, and one more condition, that our denominator is not equal to 0. So if you see here, this has also been in green color. We have two same lines with the green color. Let's do one thing. Let's change the color of this. Again, click on this, right click, settings. Let's change the color of them. Okay, I'm changing the color to blue. Now close this one. Let's give the label name and value. Yes, so this is your rational function. Now, the next function that we have is our modulus function. Now, what is a modulus function? Modulus function will be, if I'm giving the name as y of x equal to, that was mod of x, right? Mod of x. Do one thing, mod of x. Let me just change. We'll take some another variable. Um, let's take I of x equal to mod x. Yes, if you see here, we have I of x equal to mod x. I told you for mod x, we have y function equal to x or either equal to minus x. So it will lie on both the sides, that is the positive as well as negative. So if you see here, let's change the color of this also so we can identify it easily. Right. So this yellow line, if you see on both the sides, one is negative and another is on the positive. That is our modulus function. The first that we have is our green line, which is the constant function. Then this is your parabola, h of x. Let's give all of them the labels so that immediately we have our label. For this also, let's give the label. N Click on the option name and value. So we have here, and for the purple line also, let's do name and value. See, we have it here. Yes, we can move however we want to. So these are the first 5 basic functions that we have seen. I hope this is clear with you all. Do complete the assignments based on this. You can download GeoGebra on your mobile phones as well and start performing these practicals over there. In the next lecture, we'll continue with the more graphs of some mathematical functions.